what do you make of the as a concept, mate? Like obviously it's your first one. I know you guys have talked about the heats, but how do you sort of break it up from what's ahead of the Ashes, which is seemingly what everyone cares about in this test series?
Yeah, I think this puts a bit of a kind of bookend on the last 2 years, this game, and then it feels like it starts afresh for, an Ashes series. I think the first final was a bit of a foreign concept, and it wasn't until we probably missed out that we thought, no, that would have been nice to be part of. So there's been a bit more on it kind of in the last couple of years, and yeah, pretty pumped to be here.
Just on Scotty ball, and he hasn't played much red ball cricket here, not one competitive game. So what are the adjustments that you do make when you come here for the first time and bowl, even if you are as experienced as he is?
Yeah, in Australia you can get, I think, passages of play where the Kookaburra doesn't do much and the wickets are quite flat. In the past, I think here in England, because the ball does talk a little bit more, I've seen players get, I guess, too caught up in trying to take wickets every ball because suddenly the ball's swinging and seaming. So I think someone like Scotty, it's just a really simple game plan. You hit your good areas and you just stay there all day, and hopefully you're going to, the ball's going to do the work for you. But he's had a few bowls over here now and looks good, but he looks good whenever he bowls.
But there are some guys, like say Mohammad Shami, who bowled beautifully here without taking wickets. It's always been the stop him being just that half an inch shorter than what a lot of English bowlers bowl. Does that come into play as well? Like, can Scott Boland be the kind of bowler who beats the bat a lot, but you might have to go a little further at the end?
Potentially. I know that's cricket, isn't it? Like, some people bowl beautifully, don't take wickets. Some people are in great form batting and nick a good ball. So, I think we know that the areas that we need to bowl, that kind of 6 to 8 metre length, and if you stay in there all day, one, you shouldn't go for too many runs, and chances are that's where you're going to take the most wickets.
Just one last one for me. So Andy Flower's been added as a consultant for a few days. Just your take on that, like how that came about, and what do you think he brings to the team?
Experience over here. First of all, knows these conditions really well. Hopefully, knows the opposition. So if he can give us one little bit of insight about playing in England that we hadn't thought about, then it's worth it. How it came about, I think, Andrew's worked with him quite a bit, and you've seen us over the years bringing different people at different times. So pretty lucky to have someone who's experienced as Andy, just to dip in and dip out throughout the next few weeks.
So have you spent much time with him at all, or talking to him at all?
Not really, no. So today was literally his first time around the group, and
right, okay.
Yeah, so he'll kind of dip in and out, just a different voice. Yeah.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Can we take it that Scotty will play this game and with Hazelwood out? Is that the 11?
Yep. Yeah, Scotty will play. We'll probably name the 11 tomorrow, but dare say no surprises.
Do you still see in the camp when you need the 3 specialist points? Do you still see a pecking order of sort of yourself, Mitch, and Josh as 1, 2, 3? And if so, how close is Scotty to breaking into that when there aren't injury concerns?
Very close. I wouldn't say pecking order. I think we're big on kind of everyone bowls slightly differently. Even Scotty's a seam bowler on a good length, but he just offers something slightly different to, say, Joshy Hazelwood, and obviously Starkey being a left-hander is a bit different. So I don't think there's ever a pecking order. I think, you think about kind of the 4, the 3 guys that you want to go out and play. What I will say, 6 test matches in, 6-7 weeks. Hopefully I'll play all 6, but, I dare say we'll be rotating through plenty of bowlers. I dare say we'll be using at least 4 bowlers quite a lot. Was there a second part to that?
No,
I forgot. That's right.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Like, as you say, 6 tests in a really short period of time. You're a fast bowling captain. How do you judge what's best for the team? Do you think I should be out there even if I'm a bit tired or a bit jaded, or do you make a conscious decision to pull yourself out? Does McDonald say, I think you should?
Yeah, it's a balance. I've never kind of got to a stage where I felt like I've been exhausted and depleted before, but still got up and felt like I did a really good job Test cricket. But if that kind of comes up at any stage, of course, it's a conversation. Similar to a few of the niggles, like in Adelaide, knowing that we had a fully fit Scotty Boland on the bench, I'd made my decision pretty easy to pull out of that game. So, I'll be aiming to play all 6, and there's some good breaks in between kind of every batch of 2 test matches here. So I think it's manageable, but obviously Cameron Green helps out a little bit as well with the amount of overs he can bowl.
At the end of the day, was the Dave Warner news. Do you sort of feel like looking at this team, there's probably 6 or 7 you guys who are over the age of 30 now. Like, is it something you guys have to speak about to ensure that you don't all go out at the same time? Like, this is obviously going to be a pretty tricky thing to manage for CA.
Ideally, while everyone's scoring runs and taking wickets, they're playing as long as they can. But the reality is, say the opening batters, Uzi and Davey both, I think 36, 37. History would suggest they're not going to be around for heaps of years. So it's something certainly the selectors talk about, probably more so than us players, to try and make those transitions as easy as possible. But my mindset's always if you're good enough, I don't care if you're 18 or 48, you're in the team.
Yeah, and I guess the same goes for the bowling group, because you guys are even closer in age in a lot of ways in that sense. So again, it's not something, it's a selectors kind of issue rather than for you guys to think about and talk about.
Yeah, that's right. Whenever we play a test match, and if it keeps our young people out of the test side, well, hopefully they're learning their craft in Shield cricket or county cricket, and they'll get an opportunity down the track. So these things I think naturally evolve, but when you do get small little, say, an injury or someone's missing a test match, I think that's when the conversations come in, who can slot in and kind of develop them for the future.
Are you comfortable as a captain with David or a player, in this case David, mapping out an endpoint so clearly? He's clearly got this schedule in his head. Are you comfortable with that as a captain? Yeah,
that's fine. He's played over 100 test matches, so you never have to worry about Davey getting up for anything.
So does it put any extra pressure on you as captain, or the selectors, or the team generally, that someone says, "Oh well, I'm going to do this, this, and this," and just to think, well, mate, you've got to make sure that you're making some runs between now and then. It's not just a matter of mapping it out in the calendar; it's got to turn up in the scorecard.
Yeah, no, Davey's the first one to know that he's got to score runs. He's would love a fairy tale finish for Davey in Sydney. If that's that's his plan, but obviously he's got to be scoring runs, which I'm sure, and history suggests he'll be scoring some runs.
And it's your 50th test coming up, so you're all sort of up there with some pretty good players in terms of the amount of wickets you've taken over 50 tests. What sort of an achievement is it, given it took you 6 years to play your second test?
Yeah, I think the longevities I've always looked at as bigger, if not bigger, achievement than any kind of average or strike rate or anything to do with actual performance. Test cricket's tough. You play all around the world, different conditions. Physically, it's demanding. So as a fast bowler to play 50, it's something to be pretty proud of. Especially, as you said, missing kind of 5 or 6 and felt like one test match was a long way away.
So was there ever a point on that journey that you thought 50 tests was just beyond you?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I thought getting back into test cricket was, so far away. For a lot of that, I felt like maybe I could play T20 or one-day cricket, but my body just, 10 overs in a day, I'd wake up and felt like I had a car crash. So, looking back now, all the physios and people that went through all this before me were spot on. Stay patient, you'll turn a corner, you'll be right. But when you're kind of in your 5th cycle of stress fractures, test cricket seems a long way away.
So having played 50, how many have you got left in you?
I would love if I wasn't quite halfway yet. But we'll wait and see. But I feel really good. I've had 2 or 3 months off, so I feel probably the best I have for a couple of years. So I don't know. Each series is kind of series by series, but hopefully, I've just turned 30. Was it Binger, I think, played into his mid-30s. You see Starkey and Joshy, they're 3 or 4 years older than me, and they're still looking pretty fit. So, see how we go.
Have you had a look at the track?
Yeah, I had a look today. 48 hours out. Looks pretty good. Fair bit of grass. I think they'll give it a mow. I think it's the first Test match ever in June at the Oval, which kind of brings another dimension to it. I think the county cricket here have all said it's been a pretty fair wicket, bit of pace and carry. So, looks like a good wicket so far.
And how about just Cameron Green? Like he's coming off, a week of preparations, coming off a lot of T20 cricket. He said that he hasn't really looked at a red ball in the last 2 months. So you're kind of wary of that, more from a bowling point of view in terms of how you manage him over 6 tests and 7 tests.
Yeah, potentially. You'd think kind of the fast bowlers are probably going to bowl more overs at the start, and maybe Greenie ends up kind of taking a bit more of the workload towards the end of the series. That naturally pans out that way anyway. So Greenie's available, he's fit, but it's probably not in our interest to burn him and put 40 overs into him in a game, which kind of is a conversation we have pretty much before every Test match. And he's never really redlined so far.
Did you have any issues in terms of him getting up for this test, given the really tight turnaround here?
No, none at all. There was a long enough gap that he could get back to Perth for 3 or 4 days, freshen up, and he's had a really good prep. Here.
Is he carrying the IPL glow? Like you met him before he went and became a Mumbai Indian, and he's done great things there. Does he feel like a different person?
Oh, she hasn't bought me dinner. I saw him having dinner with Rohit last night. No, I didn't. No, he's great, Greenie. He's the same. A few more jokes flying his way, but no, Greenie's a beauty.
Just to go back to the conditions, what do you make of the concept of essentially a neutral territory for this game? Do you think conditions will, given what you get in Australia, might not be a million miles away from that? Do you think that plays slightly into your court, or do you think it's a fascinating aspect of this test that essentially it's 2 away teams?
Yeah, I think it's fascinating. ODI World Cups playing over here always had that aspect of you don't know what quite. We've played India a million times at home and away, but it does feel kind of somewhere right in between. I've heard a few people say, the swinging ball's a bit like Australia. I don't know, my experience in Australia doesn't really swing that much, so it does feel quite neutral. Don't think it will spin huge, but don't think it will be as fast and bouncy as you get in Australia. So.
And just I know that's the beginning about the concept of this. Do you think whoever wins or loses this test can rightfully say they're the best team in the world? Do you think a one-off test can decide it? I know Davey spoke the other day about maybe if you could fit it in 3 test series would be the way to decide. Do you think a one-off game can, in Test cricket, make a definitive answer?
Well, it does in every other format. It does in FIFA World Cups. It's a final. It's exciting. It's a high-pressure moment. I think it's a worthy winner, whoever wins. Does it put a big stamp on who's been the best team for the last 2 years? Don't know, but you've won that tournament, and that's what tournaments are there for. So, I think we've been brilliant over the last 2 years wherever we play all around the world. So it does, it'd be pretty satisfying winning the final and kind of, feel like it'd be richly deserved.
Has the high performance staff, or have the high performance staff given any restrictions on Greenie specifically, or is it just?
No, nothing specific. As I said, we always, it's in our best interest not to burn him. We want him to play all 6 Test matches, batting at number 6, and do a role with the bowling. But we've got plenty of fit bowlers who can run in and bowl heaps of overs. So, nothing specific. Yeah.
Do you feel like someone like Scotty, that you can use him as a real workhorse, that you can really drive him, knowing that he's probably not going to play all 6, but he could do a lot of the work if it gets tough and help you out for later in the series, later in the tour?
Yeah, absolutely. Then that's the luxury of having bench strength. Hoff's, really close to being available for this one, so he'll be available for the first test. Ness, you see how, he's been doing in county cricket. Sean Abbott's here, so I'm sure we'll be calling on a lot of resources, and you don't want to finish off a test match with something in the tank knowing that you've got other guys fresh that you could bring in a few days later.
If anyone, you're concerned about the threat of, there's a lot of protests going on here at the moment. There's obviously a few rugby games where they've had stuff thrown onto the pitch and whatnot. That would have a pretty big impact on the cricket match if that happened. probably would be game over. Like, are you concerned at all about that being a threat this test or any test through this tour?
Yeah, I mean, if it's flat, hopefully on a good length, just outside off, it'd be good. Yeah, it's something, we got in the security briefing a couple of days ago, so yeah, we've heard that they're aware of it and kind of keep an eye out, but that's kind of as much as we've heard. So hopefully it doesn't happen, obviously. But yeah, I've heard there's a few kind of different events that have been affected, so yeah, see how we go and make sure a couple of our bigger boys are around the pitch and can act as security guards.
And I know you're very vocal in this space, and I'm not suggesting that they're going to listen to you as a powerful voice in this, but like as someone who does have strong opinions on this, like is it kind of like you're not saying send a message, I'm not sending a list, but you know what I'm saying, like that you're hopeful that they don't take it to that kind of extreme of affecting a match? Yeah,
I mean, first I'd say I haven't really followed it at all, so I don't know kind of what the exact protests are about. But my view is always just there's right ways to go about things and potentially not the right ways to go about things. And whenever anyone's got any beliefs, you just hope you take the right option.
The T20 captaincy is still up in the air. Have you ruled yourself out of that? And do you have any input as to into that process?
Good question. Don't know. Not something I've thought about a lot, to be honest. At the moment, very comfortable testing ODI. So at this stage, haven't ruled myself out, but I very highly doubt that I'd be T20 captain.
Just on that, it was something that Steve spoke about when he took over from you in India about generally how closely you do work together when you're both. How do you think that's now going to work in 6 tests in 6 weeks if you do play them? How much are you going to be leaning on Steve at times? Are you going to use him a bit more tactically than you have in the past? And how does it work for you to sort of not joint captaining, you are the skipper, but using Steve's expertise out in the middle?
I don't see it being any different to kind of how we've done in the past. I love getting Steve's input, real experience, played a lot of cricket here in England. Again, played 100 test matches, one of the best batters ever. So I love hearing his ideas. Stands first slip, sees the game slightly differently. So we'll continue just doing that. The bowlers are very strong in what they need to do, and I'm always working with the bowlers. And Steve throwing out different options at me. I love that.
Just on Cam about and protecting him in a way. Is there a possibility at some point he plays as the third seamer and Todd Murphy, based on how well he bowled in India and just how well he bowled generally, can get him as a second spinner, or that's highly unlikely over the 6 test period?
I'd say it's purely conditions dependent, and I think history suggests probably 2 spinners is pretty rare over here, so I doubt that.
Could you see Mitch Marsh playing a role in this series, even if Cam is fully fit?
Yeah, potentially. Mitchie's back bowling. He's had a couple of big days of bowling and looking great. He's here, mainly as cover for Greenie, but also as an option of pretty damaging middle order batter. So we'll see. 6 test matches, a lot can happen. So it's good to have plenty of options. Yeah. Great. Thanks all. Cheers.